How often should you measure employee engagement? Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Future in 5. My name is Jacob Morgan. This is where I share my thoughts, ideas, and commentary on the future of work in 5 minutes or less. I just got to Japan. I'm wearing the same thing I was wearing in the last video because I've been flying for 11 hours. In Japan now, I have a layover for a few hours and then another 7-hour flight to Malaysia. So 18 hours just being in an airplane, around 24 hours of wonderful travel time, but I just had some sushi at the airport here in Japan, so I'm feeling good. Anyway, back to the topic at hand, which is how often should we measure employee engagement? I recently did a keynote for an organization not too long ago. It was a private event, and we were talking about corporate culture and engagement. And this particular organization measured their corporate culture once every 2 years in a survey that consisted of, I believe, 120 questions. Now, when I heard that, my eyes immediately glazed over and I said, what? Once every 2 years, 120 questions? And so the question came up of, well, how often should we be measuring it? How many questions should we be having? And I think that's probably the wrong place to start this conversation and discussion. It's not about how often you do it or how many questions you have. It's about why you're doing it, what you're trying to learn, and what you're trying to get out of it. Measuring it every 2 years is one of those things where you can kind of tell that, that's not probably a good enough measurement to get the pulse of the organization, especially since the workforce is changing quickly. Millennials are in and out of the organization much faster. So you definitely want to do it more than every 2 years. But do you want to do it every week? Do you want to do it every quarter, every couple of quarters, every few months? There's no golden rule around how often you should do it and how many questions you should ask. I would instead start with the basics, with the core components, and just ask some very high-level questions around what is it that we are trying to measure and understand about our employees, and what are the fewest questions that we can ask to get that pulse of the organization. There are a lot of wonderful technologies that exist out there today where you can download an app and you can ask employees 4, 5, 6 questions on a regular basis just to kind of get a pulse of the organization. Maybe in addition to that, every 6 months you do kind of a longer, more formal survey, and then maybe once a year you might do something else. Again, that's just an example. You don't have to follow that. But I know all sorts of organizations that do things differently. Organizations like T-Mobile do regular, and Adobe does this as well. They do regular real-time check-ins with their employees. They have one-on-one conversations. GE does this with their employee app that they created, I believe called FastWorks. Cisco's doing this. LinkedIn is doing this. All sorts of organizations are doing this. Then there are other organizations that do things every quarter, maybe every month. So organizations figure out what works for them and they go with it. If you get enough data and if you're getting enough information from your employees, and if you're driving the change that you want to drive and you're successful with it, then that's great. But nobody should just come in and tell you and say, oh yeah, you got to measure it every quarter or every week or every couple of months. My perspective is I look at it like a sports team. If you go out and you play with a sports team, you probably want to have a talk with your team right after that game is over. How did we do? What did we learn? You're going to show up maybe the next day for practice. You're going to be in constant communication with them around how you performed, what you can do to improve upon, who's the next team that we're playing, what are the challenges, opportunities, what are our strengths. It's an ongoing dialogue and it's an ongoing conversation. Sports teams don't look at it and say, okay, well, we're going to have one talk every week around performance, and then every month we're going to do a survey around that. It's not that structured and formal. I understand organizations might need to be a bit more structured and formal, which is fine, but think about it like a sports team and what you can do to have those conversations and get that regular feedback to be able to drive change. Honestly, I think it's just that simple. Don't focus on the number of questions. Don't focus on how many times you are getting the reviews or the pulse surveys done. Focus on the meat. Focus on what it is that you want to get out of it and why you want to get out of it. And I think that will drive all the other decisions that you're going to make around quantity, questions, etc. Curious to hear what you think. Leave me a comment below. You can email me, jacob@thefutureorganization.com, or visit thefutureorganization.com if you want to get access to more videos, podcasts, and newsletters. And of course, if you're working for a large organization and want to connect with other global leaders, make sure to visit fowcommunity.com. That's the Future of Work Community, and you'll connect with some really cool companies there. That's it for me from Japan. It's a 747 behind me. Just like the one I took here. I'm taking a Dreamliner out to Malaysia. I'll do some more videos when I land. I'll see you guys on the other side. Hey, are you interested in the future of work? If so, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get all the latest content on the future of work and stay up to date on all the latest trends and happenings. Not to mention, you will make me very, very happy. Make sure to subscribe.